On a bright sunny day in downtown Plattsburgh at the end of Bridge Street at the waterfront, which we've heard so much about, we're ready to christen a boat. And I'm here with, I don't know if Candy Luck has ever christened a boat before.
I've never christened a boat, and I won't be doing that today either. The governor will be doing that.
Oh, you know,
We're very excited about that.
He doesn't want you to swing the bottle? It's everybody's kind of excited about this whole area in downtown Plattsburgh. Isn't this neat?
Securing the spirit of Plattsburgh here has been the cornerstone of, I think, our waterfront redevelopment for the city of Plattsburgh. And the governor has been very supportive of this, and through the Small Cities program, secured funding for the building of this building and the cleaning up of this area. This is very exciting, and the governor has been very supportive of this project, and he's excited about it too.
Well, he's involved in so many things these days here in the North Country, and with this so-called corridor up through Canada.
That's right.
So there's a lot to accomplish in the last few days.
There certainly is. The summit that he is presently at and will be coming from the summit to this location, I think bodes well for this entire area. There's a spirit of international cooperation, and the premier and the governor have been together now for 2 days, and good things are going to come from that.
Isn't she glib and wonderful, Candy? We've been friends for a long, long time. Things like this are golden moments, aren't they?
They certainly are. They certainly are. I'm very proud of the job that I have and the person that I work for Governor. I'm Governor Pataki's regional representative, and he has a real commitment and dedication to the North Country, and I'm very proud. And in moments like this, just reinforce my feelings.
You promise not to get seasick on a boat today?
I promise. I promise.
I know you got a lot of details to work out, Candy. Thanks so much for your friendship, for all your hard work.
Well, thank you, Gordy. You're a real friend to the North Country. We love you. Thank you.
Mr. Spiegel, how are you today?
I'm doing just fine today, Gordy. How are you?
Wait a minute. I thought I heard the weatherman say it was going to be 65 today. I said to Calvin, you're the only guy who wore a jacket. We're all freezing to death here on the waterfront. It's about time for a change in the weather, don't you think?
I would think so. I think winter's had about enough of us, and we've had about enough of it. So hopefully we'll see some summer here in the next couple of days.
For those people who aren't aware of it, you're the proprietor of the Naked Turtle, which is right next door to here, and you've been working over there for how many years?
This is the 7th season.
Is it really?
Believe it or not. It seems like it's flown by, but...
Seeing this new spirit of Plattsburgh over here right next door can't be a bad thing for you.
I'm looking really forward to having them here. I think it's going to be a great thing for Plattsburgh, and it's going to be a great thing for the Naked Turtle, of course. It's nice to have a partner on the waterfront.
You know, for those who are interested in history, this is a very historic part of Plattsburgh. As I drove down past the beautiful old D&H railroad station and what is left at the old hotel that used to be across the street and come down here, it's very important to see things change, but it's important to remember what the history of this area is all about. But right now, it's a good feeling to see all these people coming to town, the governor here to christen the new spirit of Plattsburgh, and maybe, just maybe, this will bode well for a great tourist season this summer.
We're hoping so. You know, it's been a long time coming for this summer to get off its feet, and, you know, this is the week. It's supposed to be 70 degrees tomorrow.
Tomorrow will be nice, but I don't think we're going to be able to put this off. We're going to do it this morning. Good luck with everything you do next door and for all your efforts in the community.
Well, thank you, Gordy.
See you later, my friend.
Bye now.
Well, besides the governor, there is one other guy on the dock down here who never had a bad day.
No,
and that's
Gordy.
My friend Mike Mannix. How are you, Michael?
Excellent.
This is kind of exciting, things like this. You and I have seen a few events like this down over the years. For those of our viewers who may not realize it, Michael got out of the service and started in the radio business with us. What year?
1964.
Is that possible?
We started with you in the winter of '66.
Wow, yeah. That was quite a winter. Worked in radio for a long time and has been involved in so many other things, and then decided to take over the job heading the United Way in the North Country, and have been there ever since. How many years?
Well, we started that in August of '83.
Wow.
So nearing 20.
You've had a few physical setbacks in your time, but you look like you're feeling great today, Michael.
Oh, never had a bad day, Gordy. You know that.
Oh, boy.
We remember this was the old dock and coal area. Remember that?
Certainly. We were just talking with Spiegel next door about the old days and the great history of this area and how they cleaned it up, and now they're going to christen this beautiful tour boat. This could bode well for a good summer.
It should. It's a gorgeous boat. It affords a lot of opportunities for people. Frank Pabst, to his credit, gave us the juniper for so many years. This is just so much better than the juniper, but still, thanks to Pabst, because he was the pioneer for all of this.
He
using the
was a
lake.
pioneer, laying the groundwork for so many things. When I think of all the good ideas that Frank had and the great conversations we've had together throughout the years. But this is, I think Plattsburgh is arriving, don't you?
Oh yes, and if they ever need to know more about the lake, Frank's has got that history, and so I'm sure if these people run into any snag, fix that breakwater, and they might have a little. That's a concern.
That's great. Well, Michael, it's great to be here. It's great to be anywhere, right?
Oh,
when you
you're
get to
darn
be as
right.
old as we are.
Well, speak for yourself, Gordy.
Have yourself a terrific day, Michael.
Same to you, pal.
Righto. We're still on the waterfront waiting to christen the Spirit of Plattsburgh, but fairly recently we christened a new district attorney here in Clinton County. Rich Cantwell, how are you?
Very good, thank you. It's great to be here.
You're very dapper today.
I'm trying, this is work clothes. We wear it every day.
You know, we're getting people's reactions to what's happening down here in the waterfront today, and we haven't heard anything negative yet. I don't know how you could. It's really
No, I don't think you could
beautiful
either.
place, isn't it?
It's gorgeous. This is just transformed incredibly. Just to look at what it was just a year ago, it's amazing. I wouldn't even recognize it. It's just gorgeous.
And there is an effort underway, as most people know, to move the rail yard, which is right nearby. And once that happens, this will be quite a center of activity, I feel.
I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of plans. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once that happens, it'll be great. And they just move down to the old base there. We spent a lot of time there on the waterfront, and it's just gorgeous. I'd like to see that get reused as well.
This is a resource that it's pretty hard to fault. This beautiful lake, Lake Champlain, and we're not very far from where a tremendous battle was fought on September 11th, 1814, and
That's right.
we have history all around us. And guess what? We're making history again here today, aren't we?
Every day. We've got the governor coming up. That's going to be nice too. It's good to see him coming up here very regularly, and appreciating this gorgeous site.
Anything we can do to increase tourism in this area can't be bad, can it?
Not at all. Not a nice, safe family place, great place to live, and we want to keep it that way.
That's
really
great,
nice.
and I'm very happy, I might add, with the progress of attracting new businesses into this area, into the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base. I know it has special meaning for you because you worked there for a long time.
It sure does. I was my daughter plays soccer on the Oval now in our league, and when I go back there, I look at Building 100. I spent 4 years there, and it was it's kind of sad to see the military gone, but it's very nice to see it getting reused, and especially in a nice way like that. That's going to help everybody. But a heck of a base, got very rich in history. And we had some photos we were looking at the other day of when Lieutenant Grant was up here.
Oh my goodness!
And that was pretty neat. So this is a great place to keep going.
It's great, and you know what we're talking about is transitions. Yeah, that's what makes history, is transitions and changes, and this signals some tremendous changes for the Plattsburgh waterfront, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not very long before we become world famous, and that would be fine with me.
Oh, that'd be great. We are world famous already. We just need to get more people here to come and appreciate it.
We'll do it starting today. Thanks, Rich. Good luck, buddy.
My pleasure. Good to see you again. You do a heck of a job out here.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, good to see you.
Oh, the camera's still got tape in it. Randy Stoloff, how are you today?
Okay, how are you?
What did you bring along in your little ditty bag there?
Well, the mayor's going to announce the kickoff of Team Lake City, which is basically his initiative to have unified waterfront development from the Crate Center down to the old base marina. So we want unified development that will bring tourists here, increase fishing, boating, all the historic and wildlife things that our lake and our city have to offer.
You know, these are things that we've talked about and dreamed about for years, and I think we're on the brink here, aren't we, Randy?
Well, I think we're on the brink. I think with this mayor and this administration, they're really putting in a lot of time and effort, and especially with development of the downtown and the waterfront, with a lot of things that make sense. We need the community to get behind it, behind the mayor, behind the city council, and get involved and become a part of Team Lake City. That's what he's going to talk about today.
There's a big payoff for things like that, isn't there? Big payoff down the road. We get this waterfront cranked up, get tourists here from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and Smyrna and other places around the country and get them to spend their summer vacations up here. What better spot on the face of the earth?
Absolutely. We're having the FLW fishing tour here again this year. They missed last year because of 9/11, but they're coming back. They considered Lake Champlain the #1 smallmouth bass fishing lake in the country. We're going to be on ESPN and TNN, and hopefully people see and want to get those big fish just like the professional fishermen.
Look at the major events that we've developed over the last few years that not only attract local people but bring those people here from out of town. The Mayor's Cup.
Gotten bigger every year.
4th of July. Battle
Absolutely.
of Plattsburgh commemorations. And each year we add something more. And being a native here for well over 40 years, it pleases me to see this kind of development.
Well, I'm not a native. I've been here for a little over 10 years, and I've seen a lot of potential in this city, and I think now we're going to start to develop that potential.
I think that's great. We can't wait for the announcements. Randy, thanks for talking with us.
Okay, thanks
Have a
for
great
asking
day.
me.
Well, it appears that Governor Pataki has arrived. By the way, for those who are viewing this after the event, this is a by invitation only event that's being held on the waterfront.
New York, George Pataki.
Senator Stafford is here. Here comes the governor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the waterfront of the city of Plattsburgh, a much changed waterfront from just 1 year ago. It is absolutely marvelous to have the governor here. Without the governor, Senator Stafford, and Assemblyman Ortloff, this project never would have got off of its feet because we needed such assistance from the people in Albany, our representatives and our governor. Some years ago, Arthur Spiegel and Matt Spiegel built the Naked Turtle next door in this marina that we have adjacent to us. They were the start of something happening here. We also built bike paths, and we'll build more. We have a dream of moving a rail yard off of the lakefront to have public access. The spirit of Plattsburgh, leaving as Ethan Allen II from Burlington and coming to Plattsburgh, was a tremendous coup for this city. And it was something that the people of our city deserve. And as waterfront development continues, we have our service groups in the area, Rotary International, and I know your father was a member of Rotary, Governor.
Yes, he was.
And Rotary International is going to be very, very active in the waterfront reuse in Plattsburgh. We have great opportunities, and we will be creating what is called Team Lake City. Team Lake City will consist of numerous people in our community that will be at the forefront of development for the waterfront in the city of Plattsburgh. And Governor, I have a hat that I would like to give to you for Team Lake City. This is Randy Stoloff, our chair of our Waterfront Development Committee.
Randy.
Also, the help out of Albany from Ken Flood, Steve McGrattan, and Keith McAvell was very important through the Small Cities Office. We thank those of you that are in attendance for being here. Also, the LDC, which helped in the funding, and all of the city councilors that are here today, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to turn over the microphone to the Assemblyman for this district, Chris Ortloff.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Governor, welcome back to the waterfront of Plattsburgh. I remember the day, oh my, it was about 13 years ago, the governor got off the train right here. For a very important visit to Plattsburgh, where he came to help us when he and I were both members of the Assembly. And his love for Plattsburgh, his enthusiasm for what this community is doing and continues to do has never abated since that day. I want to thank him personally, not only for his friendship, but for his steadfast support. This is one of many waterfronts around this great state that is undergoing a renaissance. Governor Pataki was the mayor of a waterfront city on the Hudson River. This is a city very much in the same condition, the same aspirations, and the same opportunities. And thank you, Governor, Senator Stafford, for your continued support, and all of my colleagues in the Assembly of both parties for backing these efforts that are bringing Plattsburgh and all New York's other waterfront communities into a new renaissance of opportunity, both economically and culturally. What we're celebrating here today is very much a part of that much bigger picture and a hallmark of the administration of Governor George Pataki. Thank you, Governor. Thank you so much. This is a complex state. It's a big state. And believe you me, the governor gets around the entire state. He's on a tight schedule right now. I'll be very, very quick. I remember the governor when he was a staff member in the Senate. He knew what he was doing, and he had it together. I remember when he was in the Assembly. He knew what he was doing, and he had it together. I remember when he was in the Senate. He knew what he was doing, and he had it together. Now we know him as our governor. He knows what he's doing. He has it together. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor George Pataki. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Senator Stafford. Thank you all for being here. The sun is shining on Plattsburgh today, and it should be. This is another great day in the renaissance of this great community and this tremendous and historic part of our state. You know, Chris was mentioning how I used to be a mayor. I am the first governor to have been mayor of a community before becoming governor in over 150 years. And that's why when you hear a mayor like Dan Stewart express a vision for how the people of Plattsburgh can reclaim the lakefront after being cut off for, 100 years, I understand that that vision requires not just leadership locally, but partnership across the state. Plattsburgh can't do it alone. And you are very blessed that you have the most powerful state senator in probably America representing the people of Plattsburgh, and Ron Stafford is head of the Senate Finance Committee. And my great partner since our days together in the State Assembly, and Chris Ortloff, who worked so hard to preserve the history and enhance the recreational opportunities here in the Champlain Corridor. Chris, thank you as well. And we are a team. We are a team, and it's a team that's committed to working with the community, to making sure that we utilize the tremendous resources of the people and the geography here in the North Country of New York State. And just look out over Lake Champlain. I can't tell you the dozens of times I've been out here. Last summer I was on the beach a little bit north. A couple of years ago we were out on a boat photographing I Love New York commercials so the rest of the state and the country could see what we already know. There's no more beautiful place in the world than here in the Champlain Valley. And yet for so long the people were cut off. The people were cut off by the rail lines and the rail yards, and this was used as the back door instead of the front door. And now you have that vision. You have the vision to revitalize the lakefront, not just here in Plattsburgh, but up and down the entire corridor. And Mayor Stewart has come up with an idea. And a year ago he said, we can rehabilitate a couple of acres of lakefront property that have been abandoned and largely disused and just used for dumping. And if we can get the funds to do that, we can bring in a major tourism facility, the Spirit of Plattsburgh, to take people out on the lake. And when he said that, it didn't take us 30 seconds to know that this was the right vision and it was the right thing to do. So the state has a small cities program, and working with Ron and Chris, we allocated more than $300,000 to help create the docking facilities and the ticket sales and the other facilities so that the Spirit of Plattsburgh could be launched right here on the shores of Lake Champlain. It's that type of partnership that we need, because this means not just jobs and economic opportunity for the people who will be working here. It means an enhanced quality of life. And I'll never forget, when I was mayor of my hometown of Peekskill, we were going through very much the same thing. It's a riverfront city in the midst of the Hudson Highlands, one of the most beautiful places in the world, a lot like this. And it had been cut off from the waterfront by dumps and sewage treatment plants and railroad lines for 100 years. We created a riverfront park across the tracks in the city of Peekskill. I'll never forget, one of the most enjoyable moments I had was when we got a ship like this down in Peekskill to decide that they were going to use our riverfront park to have cruises through the Hudson Highlands. It's been a tremendous success, not just economically, more importantly, it's been a tremendous success for the community. Because if you have events, if you just want to bring people, friends or neighbors out, if it's a beautiful afternoon and you just want to get out on the lake, you'll be able to go out on the Spirit of Plattsburgh and enjoy this magnificent part of New York. So Dan and Ron and Chris, I want to thank all of you. To Mike Shea. Mike, you're the one who's making this commitment, and we're grateful that you've decided that the future is in Plattsburgh and not Vermont. You're absolutely right. Mike, we're going to encourage you to continue to invest right here. And let me say that the vision isn't complete for the future of this lake. I want to be a part of Team Lake City. The mayor was talking about relocating 14 acres of rail yards. As we go forward, we're going to look to see how we can continue to be your partner in reclaiming this magnificent lakefront for the people of the North Country. Thank you. God bless you. Great being with you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to board the boat, and Mike Shea and the governor will be making a toast, and we'll be cracking the champagne bottle. So please feel free to come with us and go on the boat.
You know, it's a real pleasure to be here because we like to capture history. Sometimes we like to recreate history, as we do during our Battle of Plattsburgh commemoration weekend. And at the very least, Calvin and I and Hometown Cable love to be a part of history. We love to drink it all in the best way we possibly can. The governor's remarks were indeed well taken, because we've promoted this area as being a potential hub for tourism for many, many years. And as I've used a phrase earlier today, we're on the brink. And I'm sure the appearance of the governor of the state of New York here in Plattsburgh for this occasion, for the other things he's been doing to create a corridor between here and Montreal and Canada, up and down the eastern seaboard for commerce and trade, are well taken in terms of everybody.
They're going to come to the bow and break it.
Okay.
The toast there. So the shot
Okay.
will be
Looking across the bow of the spirit of Plattsburgh on this great day in late May, because we're going to have a toast and a christening of the spirit of Plattsburgh as it begins what we hope will be a very fruitful season in carrying tourists around Lake Champlain. This is something that other cities have done before, and as we mentioned previously, our good friend Captain Frank Pabst instigated this idea a long time ago. As a matter of fact, in speaking of history, there have been quite a few very famous tour boats on Lake Champlain, which carry passengers up and down the lake, including steamboats from way back when. But this is, to use a sometimes tried and true word, auspicious occasion, because the governor of the state of New York is here, along with a number of people who you can see gathered right there on the deck of the Spirit of Plattsburgh, who have a considerable influence in how things are run and how much money comes to the state of, or to the city of Plattsburgh and to Clinton County. The governor's here. There'll be pause. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get a little taste of champagne.
We dedicate the spirit of the new Plattsburgh. Spirit of Plattsburgh.
Oh, little tiny shards of glass came. We escaped relatively unscathed. Look at the governor. Yeah. Sometimes when they christen ships, they cover the bottle with a with a towel. But we had a little windage. I don't think they calculated it completely. Oh, that's a great job and a happy time for everybody. We're going to try to get on board the Spirit of Plattsburgh. We've been there with our Hometown Cable cameras before. We'll do a few more interviews and continue with a great day in the sunshine in late May on the waterfront in downtown Plattsburgh. We got a lot of famous people here today, including our good friend John Zerlo, the county clerk. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Gordy and Calvin. Great to see you.
We've talked to a number of people here today, and it's interesting to look back at all the important occasions you and I have attended down through the years. It's always fun to add one more, and this is a good one, isn't it?
This is fantastic. You know, this brings back so many memories to me. I remember, and as you know, I was in the driving business at one section of my life. I used to get home early in the morning, 2 or 3 o'clock, after working those night shifts at the drive-in, and I would be so hot and I couldn't fall asleep. So I drove down to Plattsburgh and came down this road to Old Dock and Coal, which now they're going to open up an ice cream stand in there, I hear, in that Dock and Coal building. And I bought an air conditioner. And that was back around 1963. And believe it or not, that air conditioner is still working.
Come on.
Yeah, but
and so are you, John.
A lot of old memories in this waterfront.
You know, we spend a lot of, Calvin and I spend a lot of time promoting Plattsburgh and Clinton County. And I think a day like this proves why. It's a very, very special place, isn't it?
Without a doubt. And you heard the governor and the mayor speak about further improvements down here at the waterfront. This is going to be a spectacular center for not only Plattsburgh but of Clinton County. This is going to be a central spot for all of us here in Clinton County to enjoy ourselves, to use the lake. It was a remark the governor made saying this used to be the back door, and that's exactly right. It was the back door. You couldn't get down here. You couldn't get on the lake, and they're opening all that up for all the residents of the area now, which is great.
You know, somebody a lot brighter than I once said these are the best of times and the worst of times. Our nation is going through a lot of tenuous times right now after September 11th of last year. What we need is more good things like this so we can look on the bright side, don't we?
So we can forget, that's right. And it's marvelous that our governor still continues to do all this traveling in wake of what happened on September 11th. He's all over the place. Been up here so many times and doing these things and going out on a boat, and some of them you might think, wow, that's, it's something that a man, such a dignitary probably wouldn't want to do, but he continues to do it, and yes, and I think one of the reasons is it wants us to forget. We've got to forget, we've got to move forward. We've had some bad times, but certainly this is a turnaround for us.
I'm sure you've been on vacation in the past many years ago, and people say, where are you from? You say Plattsburgh, and they say, oh my gosh, where is that? Near the Arctic Circle? Where is that? Guess what? We're being recognized as a hub, a center of activity, and now a corridor on this part of the state. So exactly. I think in the future we're going to be in the middle of it all, don't you?
Without a doubt. We have so many good things here. The SUNY Plattsburgh has grown to what it is today, and it's so popular. Everybody in the state knows SUNY Plattsburgh. We have a fine hospital, CVPH, now getting into angioplasty and heart surgery down the road, working on it very diligently right now. We're getting to have a name here in this area for many things, not only for cold weather like we used to be known, but now we don't even get the snow and the cold weather like we used to. But yes, the corridor is opening up. We have so many industry. We have the air base development that's going on, that's making a big name for us in the northern tier and in Clinton County. And people are just so proud to live here. I mean, the new people I know are coming into Aris now. They're hiring a lot of people up in Rouse's Point, management people, and they're just so happy to be here in the North Country.
Isn't it amazing? We used to hear that when the air base was open, and people would be stationed here and bring their families here who'd been on bases all around the world and say, this place is fantastic.
Yes.
And we used to try to let people understand that this place was fantastic. I think they're finally listening to us.
It took a while, but people want to come here now. It's amazing. We have everything. We have everything. And if you want city life, you're 2 hours south and an hour north. What more do you want?
We have the best of all worlds. I've said it before. You can take a walk in the woods 5 minutes away. You can, you can go to wonderful shows and plays. You can do just about anything here, or you can spend the summer playing on Lake Champlain.
Without a doubt, this is a just fantastic place.
John, thank you so much for spending time with us and being such a good friend for so many years.
You bet. Great to see you. Enjoy the day.
Rosemary Schoonmaker, how are you today?
Oh, just wonderful.
For the people who may be outside our viewing area, Rose has run the Community Development Office for now how long?
12 years.
12 years. This is a good day, isn't it, Rosie?
Yes, it's one of the best days I've had. It's so great to see this waterfront finally being open to everybody to use it.
Well, you've been doing this for 12 years, and you've been involved in almost all the major projects that have happened in and around the city of Plattsburgh. But isn't it great to be here in a day like today and just where it feels like we're going around that big corner, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does. We're finally climbing the hill, and we're getting there.
You know, I've talked a few moments ago about some of the fantastic things we do throughout the course of a year now. Let's talk about some of the events that are coming up in the city of Plattsburgh this summer and fall, for example.
Oh, of course, you have the wonderful July 4th parade, and then right after that, the week-long Mayor's Cup Festival, and we'll be able to use this wonderful waterfront for the first time this year. You can go on a cruise to watch the fireworks, so it's going to be exciting. And then, of course, you have the Battle of Plattsburgh in September with fireworks. And then you have the Farmers Market opening, and there's a couple of plays and different events downtown. So it'll be a real nice summer. We just have to hope the weather cooperates.
It's a little chilly here this morning as we're broadcasting here. It's probably in the low 50s, but there's a chill factor because we got a very stiff breeze blowing in off Lake Champlain. Tomorrow's going to be warmer, but we'll take this weather.
We'll take it.
Compared to that sleet or
hail
Monday we had on Monday down here.
Yeah.
Rosie, I want to personally thank you for all your hard work in that community development office. You're I think one of the true unsung heroes in this community, because you always want to stand back behind everybody and let them take the limelight. But I know how hard you've worked for the last 12 years, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, Rose.
You too.
I would have an idea.
My friend Clay Morris is on board. First of all, congratulations for your win in the school board yesterday.
Thank you very much, Gordy. I'm very happy to be elected to the school board. It makes me feel very good that the city residents have enough confidence in me to vote me on the school board, and I'm looking forward to some great things within the city school district.
Clay Morris and his family and me and my family have sat on a lot of bleachers and a lot of different venues over the years watching different events, haven't we?
Many years. It's been a great, since 1969 actually, and our children for the last 20 years.
It's great to watch our kids grow up and go on to college and start their families, and it makes me feel a little old when I get up in the morning, but how many great memories we've had, huh?
So many of them, Gordy, and you're right. The only thing I regret getting up every morning is looking at my head.
But you've been involved in many different ways with athletics here in the North Country forever and ever.
I've coached for 13 years at Plattsburgh High School, and before that I coached for the county and City Little League. So yes, football, swimming, and softball.
We were talking with John Zerlo a little while ago because, as you know, they're trying to get a crew together who played county baseball in 1952, 50 years ago. And Calvin said, why doesn't Mark talk to John Zerlo? Well, guess what? John Zerlo was one of those kids.
One of those kids. And I was going to suggest that we talk to you. You must know some of them that played.
You know, unfortunately, I didn't come around here until the 1960s, and I met lots of people who played county ball, but I wasn't here in 1952. So it takes guys like John Zerlo to remember the people he played against, and he's already contributed, I bet you, a dozen names.
Fantastic, good. Because I'm also the chairperson of the county youth board, so we need the people to show up for that because it's a great honor. 50 years of having a sports program anywhere in the state, that's phenomenal. And to have it here in Clinton County, I think is great.
I don't think a lot of people are probably aware that youth board even exists.
The Clinton County Youth Board, I'm sure they don't. But we've been running the sports program in the county of Clinton County for the last 50 years. And again, we've had baseball and softball since whatever year that is, 1963. So yes, that is phenomenal, isn't it?
The board itself has gone through a lot of changes, but it's great to see people who come out and volunteer their time for such a worthy organization to help our kids, huh?
It is, and people, I think, take it for granted at this point in time. We have a softball program, baseball program, basketball program. We're running kayaking lessons, snowshoes lessons, competitions. We have track, basketball. We are really doing much more for the youth of the county, and we plan on doing much more.
We give out, the board gives out scholarships to needy kids for a variety of things throughout the year, help other organizations that help kids, and it's nice to be able to give back that way, isn't it?
It is very, very nice. I enjoy sitting on the board when we have those scholarships that come up in front of us, and it's from various things. It can be sports, lessons, going to school in the summer. We do many things like that. And of course, we also have organizations that help us with that. The Rotary, Lions Club, organizations like that, Moose Lodge, they all help out with us with matching funds.
And now let's get right up to date in today. Isn't this fun?
This isn't, I mean, you look at the scenery out here, to have a boat like this or a ship like this that we can go to on an evening and have a dinner, this is fantastic.
I love it. Clay, thanks for stopping for a minute and talking with us.
Thank you. Hope I did all right, Gordy.
You did great. My friend Don Craig, who's now at the Kent Delord House, has been a lot of different places down through the years. Matter of fact, before you took over there, you were, let me see, we interviewed you one year when you had your little doctor stand set up there during the recreation of the Battle of Plattsburgh weekend, didn't you?
Right, that's right. I was doing reenacting then, and I still am now. But at that time, I was portraying, yes, a medical doctor, and I had quite a setup for that. Now I'm working on the crew of the Bateau, the Rooster.
Oh gosh.
Which I like even better. A lot of fun. I love being on the water.
It's a wonderful boat, and it's fun. The Battle of Plattsburgh celebration is so much fun every year, isn't it?
Absolutely. And
all right, let's listen to the mayor.
And hello upstairs. On the second floor, we know you're up there. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can get your attention for just a minute, we do have food on board, so make sure that you eat, and there is some champagne and ginger ale available, and we hope everybody has a good time. Due to the governor's scheduling, we were not able to debark from the dock the way in which we wanted to, so we apologize for that. But I hope everybody's going to be able to have a good time here today. I just turned it off. Now I'm back on. Okay. There are some people on board I'd like to be able to point out to everybody. We have some city council members here today. Jack Stewart, Francesca Hartnett, Bill Sabrin, Christine Rotella, and Mike Drew. They're all on board, and we're glad to have them. And Stuart Voss is here also, and we're glad to have all the city councilors here. During the earlier presentation, we had mentioned a few people that were there, but the governor's scheduling really held us back from mentioning some of the very, very important people that were taking part in the creation of the Spirit of Plattsburgh. I would like to point out the members of the Local Development Corporation for the City of Plattsburgh, and also Rosemary Schoonmaker and Joe Abraham from the City Community Development Office, who without their help, this never would have been possible. George Miller from the Engineering Department. Please give him a hand. It's just really great to have these people working for the City of Plattsburgh and moving our issues and our dreams forward on the waterfront. I hope that everybody has a great summer this year, riding on the Spirit of Plattsburgh. Mike Shea is going to tell you maybe some of the scheduled dates of when things will be starting, so people know. Also in the crowd is Mr. Dennison from Canadian Pacific Railroad, D&H Railroad. And Mr. Dennison asked me, he said, well, I heard that speech about moving my rail yard, and I just want to remind him, yes, we want to move your rail yard, but we have not had a greater partner with CP Rail than we have with Mr. Dennison. He's done a great job of working with us, trying to find ways in which his company can help us through feasibility studies to see whether or not it is possible to move this rail yard. And we are truly appreciative of you, Mr. Dennison, and the hard work you do for us down in Clifton Park when dealing with the Community Development Office. Thank you. I'll now turn the microphone over to Mr. Mike Shea, and he's going to give you a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Stewart. I was just thinking when Mayor Stewart was talking, thanking the city councilors, just about a year ago, I believe it was next week, that we brought it was then the Spirit of Ethan Allen 2 over to Plattsburgh for a luncheon. And we were using the Matt Spiegel and his dad's and Jimmy Carter's dock over here and tied up to and had a luncheon right over here. I have that picture in my office, and then I put a frame over it and it says, if you build it, they will come. And they're coming. And it's really been incredible what has happened over here in Plattsburgh. This is a first-class, and I say world-class, docking facility. I have seen them all over the United States and some other countries, and this is beautiful. I mean, a lot of places would beg to have something like this and what the potential of what the mayor and the city of Plattsburgh are trying to accomplish here, this is outstanding. You can be proud of what you have for a beginning of a waterfront facility. I was down here last Friday. We were doing some crew training, and I spent some time on the boat, and I watched joggers. I watched some bicyclists. I watched a couple come down over here and had lunch, had a little extracurricular activity. And it was just so nice to watch no, I'm not one of... Anyways, but what it was is nobody had anything to do with this boat. They were all utilizing Plattsburgh's waterfront. Before, the access wasn't completely, it was not completely accessible. And with what's been done down here, is it's accessible now to everybody. We've got some nice handicap parking. People can pull right up front and just sit and gaze. I was watching somebody this morning reading the paper sitting out here. What a lovely way to start the day, because this, as the governor said, is one special place, Lake Champlain. So I think that we have a great foundation. I'm looking forward to working with the mayor and the citizens of Plattsburgh to bring what I have seen to this community. I spent 8 years over here when flying with Brockway Airlines. And so I knew Plattsburgh, and I have seen the rebound and what's going on here, and I'm proud to be a part of Plattsburgh. That's why I named the boat the Spirit of Plattsburgh, because Plattsburgh has spirit, and you should all be proud of that. A couple of people that I'd really like to thank, of course, the mayor. You've been so helpful. I've been able to call the mayor, and he'll either pick up the phone or somebody will give him, let him know I'm calling. He'll call me back, or Wendy, who we've been working on this project together. Rosemary Schoonmaker here, in the Community and Economic Development Office. Joe Abrams. I don't see, is Joe? Joe, right over here. Another individual, George Miller, in the engineering department of the city of Plattsburgh, has been outstanding in working to do all of the design work out here, working tirelessly. Dave, and I know Dave's here. Dave, I don't know your last name.
Dave Lesser.
Dave Lesser has been working for about a month down here. He was assigned to get this project completed, and he did an outstanding job. So I'd like to thank each one of those people individually. You've done an outstanding job to make this happen, and you worked tirelessly, and it was fun. It was fun working to accomplish this project. So the Naked Turtle has grown. We're now here. Hopefully we can grow, and the mayor can continue on his process of developing a beautiful waterfront for the city of Plattsburgh. So thank you very much. We feel very humbled to be here.
Public cruises.
We begin our public cruises May 25th. That's this Saturday, and we're happy to say our first 10 o'clock cruise is sold out. And our next cruise is at 12 o'clock. We're happy to say that's sold out. This lady goes, what? The Press Republican got in on a promotion with us, and to promote the waterfront, to promote the new Spirit of Plattsburgh. And in 2 hours, they gave away 800 tickets. And they had never had a promotion. The publisher arrived to the paper that morning, and he didn't know if there was somebody was killed, a bomb threat, or what was going on, because I guess there was a line out the newspaper a half a block long for people trying to get tickets. We begin our series of murder mysteries, Captain's Dinner Cruise, Lobster Cruises, Variety Show, and Moonlight Dances mid-June. So we'll invite everybody to come down, enjoy us, but not just enjoy us. Come down, enjoy the waterfront. You're going to find it to be a pleasurable spot to come and have a lunch, read the newspaper, walk around. So once again, thank you very much.
You heard the mayor of Plattsburgh introduce John Dennison of CP Rail here a few minutes ago. How are you, John?
Very good, thank you.
Great to have you here. Where do you live?
I actually lived east of Albany, so I came up from Albany this morning to be up here.
Isn't it kind of fun to see something like this happen?
Oh yes, I have been up here many times over the years, and it's just wonderful to see all the improvements that have been made here. It's very exciting, and I'm glad we can work with the city on this project.
The mayor alluded to something that he's talked about for a long time about trying to move this rail yard. That's a big deal, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because we have certain operations that we do here in the yard, and it's important that we maintain those operations, and we're trying to find another location where we can do that work.
Is it really possible, or is this a pipe dream?
No, it's not a pipe dream. It's something it's possible. Of course, it takes money and time to do the whole project.
I'm sure there are many people watching this program on their local cable television channel who didn't expect to see what has already transpired down here at the end of this historic street.
Well, I really think you have to give credit to the mayor on that. It's his vision and his energy behind all this, and it's exciting to meet with him and talk with him about this project.
I'm sure many local people haven't had an occasion so far this spring to take a ride down here and just look around at the new parking lots and the new buildings and the new boat, and change sometimes is really, really good, isn't it?
Yes, I think this is very good, especially for the community. Things change, operations change, so we always like to make progress.
John, how did you get involved in the railroad business?
Well, I've been with the railroad, this is my 38th year now. I'm old Delaware and Hudson Railway, which was taken over by Canadian Pacific in 1991. But I've always been involved with the properties for the railroad, all the way from the Canadian border down to Sunbury, Pennsylvania. And we used to have railroad in Vermont that is now gone. But as you say, things change, and hopefully all for the better.
Railroads have always been an important part of America. We do a lot of historical programs, interview people who've written books about railroads, and Jim Shaughnessy, for example, has written some of the most important railroad books in the world. We spent a wonderful day with him. Poor man, we didn't even let him go to the bathroom. We sat there and let the tapes roll for about 6 or 8 hours. But railroads are so much an integral part of this nation's history, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, the Delaware and Hudson, just a little plug here, is the oldest continually operated transportation company in the U.S. We were started in 1823 as a canal company, which the canal connected the Delaware and the Hudson rivers, and hence the name Delaware and Hudson. So we have quite a history. As I say, started out as a canal company. We had a lot of the boats. As a matter of fact, the old steamship lines on Lake Champlain and Lake George were owned by the Delaware and Hudson.
That's a good
many
thing
years
to point
ago.
out. I'm sure many people weren't aware of that.
Yeah.
John, it's so great to have you here today. Thank you so much for talking with us, and enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you very much. A pleasure.
Well, here's the tall and short of it, that's for sure. Bob Butler, how are you today?
Good, Gordy. How are you? Good to see you.
Great. I'm sorry to see you with a cane. What's going on
Well,
here?
you only milk it so long, so I'm just a bad wheel. That's all.
Oh, it looks like it's hurting a little bit. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I'm hopefully just going to ride it out until it stops, and then I'll get back to doing other things here, I'm sure. But
oh goodness,
it's a male thing. We get wimpy sometimes, and sometimes
that
that's it. So you only milk it so long, you can get it back on the swing of things. So.
I just noticed that the ceilings are just barely tall enough for
fortunately, there's no rough water as we docked here in the yard, so we're fine. So that works out well for me.
Put an egg on Bob's head. Well, representing the county here in the legislature and all the things you have done here for this county, this is going to make you feel good.
This is great. This is, anytime you can bring a large ship of this nature, a boat of this nature in here for all the efforts it does for the county, serving the county people and bringing tourists in, is absolutely spectacular. So this is always a good experience to expand the horizons of the county. Well needed, and we really.
We've said it many times today, and as I was talking with Bob, I was just looking up at the bluff to Clinton Community College and thinking of the wonderful history here along Lake Champlain. What a fabulous place!
It's amazing.
We live in.
It is amazing, and it's a dream situation, and what a quality of life. That's why we live here. Super. It's amazing here.
You got to get that leg fixed. How are you going to play tennis on a bad leg?
I think I have to hang that up. I'm trying to play golf, and that's even more of a challenge right now. So.
Bob Butler, thanks so much for stopping by and all you've done for the youth of the North Country and now in the Clinton County Legislature.
Thank you, Gordy. Appreciate that. Have a great day.
Well, the City Council is certainly well represented here today with Christine Rotella. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. How about yourself,
I've
Gordy?
been great. We've been buddies for a long, long time. This is a pretty neat day, isn't it, Chris?
Oh, it's spectacular. I mean, nature's even shining at us and telling us, go for it, Plattsburgh.
I love this area. I love all the changes they made down here.
Isn't it wonderful? We have so many more in mind, but it's going to just take us a little while. You know, everything takes money.
Well, this whole idea of developing this whole waterfront all the way up to the beach, wow.
You know, we're reclaiming it.
Yeah, reclaiming is a good idea.
Reclaiming it. And you know, Gordy, you know me, years and years and years ago, I screamed about Plattsburgh turning its back to the water, both the river and the lake. And we're turned our face around. And it's about time.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, I remember you talking about it. We've all talked about how important it is to do something that'll attract the attention of not only some of the sleeping people here, but those in other areas that could well spend their summer vacations with us.
Absolutely. And it adds to the quality of life. And I really feel that the role of the city of Plattsburgh in our area is to develop the quality of life issues that will help the other areas attract the industry. We don't have the land anymore in the city to develop as far as providing the kind of job opportunities that we would like to do. Of course, now we have the exception of the air base. That's changed things. But I really think it's the city's job to do what needs to be done to improve quality of life.
You know, you decided a long time ago that you want to give something back to this community, which has been pretty good to you throughout your lifetime.
Absolutely.
And you've worked very hard a couple of times to get on that to get on that city council, because it's important that people serve. I know you feel personally very, very strongly about that, don't you?
Very much so. My husband and I have invested in the downtown because we believed in that, and you know, my service on the council and in other capacities as well, I think is indicative of my commitment to this community, and I hope everybody else out there finds a way to make a commitment.
This is a big little city. You know, the governor paid us a very high compliment today, more than one high compliment. And it wasn't just hyperbole, it wasn't just rhetoric. He really believes that this is a beautiful place, and it's something that you and I have talked about so many times in the past. But when I say big little city, there are a lot of important things that go on in that Common Council chambers with you on a weekly basis, which people don't even know about. It's just amazing.
Yes. A lot of big issues, actually, and I think they weigh, on me personally, they weigh heavy because decisions always impact people. And when you stop to think about that, everything that we vote on, and a lot of big issues and a lot of little issues, all impact people one way or another. So that weighs a little bit heavy, but somebody's got to be doing it. And I'm happy to be there.
You made that decision to serve, and you ran with it. I want to thank you very much for your friendship and for all your hard work throughout the years.
Thank you so much for that, Gordy. Good to see you again.
Battle of Plattsburgh, Lake Champlain dinner cruise, Kit Booth. You've been working behind the scenes here, my friend.
Not only dinner cruise, but they're going to watch the fireworks from this boat on Friday night the 13th. We hope it won't be an unlucky night, but it's going to be the Friday the 13th of September.
Isn't that great?
During
So
battle.
you're already going to utilize the services of this Spirit of Plattsburgh. Kit Booth has been a friend of mine for a long time, a local businessman, local politician, now so much involved in this committee that preserves the memories of the Battle of Plattsburgh, a very important part of our history. That's been fun, hasn't it? For you and your son and the rest of your family.
Yeah, right. It's a family affair, and it's a real challenge. But we love it. We're really involved.
Well, every year seems to get bigger and better, as we say.
This year we've got several new and interesting things. One of them on this boat, of course. We're going to invite, actually only 288 people will be able to get the tickets to get on the boat to be served dinner. There'll be dinner, dancing, a cruise for 3 hours, and then watch the fireworks from the boat, from the lake, which will be kind of an unusual experience for most people.
As we've said so many times before, most people locally have known about the significance of the Battle of Plattsburgh in this area's history, but we haven't really capitalized in it except for the last few years, and it's turning into a veritable explosion, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah. This is our 5th year now. So this year we're going to have a parade on Saturday. We've invited several dignitaries, including the governors of both states. There will be units from Canada and the United States. One of the key features will be Her Majesty's Royal Marine Band, which will be coming in beautiful red tunics and white pith helmets and blue trousers, a real spectacular marching band. They will perform not only in the parade, but they'll be retreat after the parade, and they'll also perform in a concert at the foot of the monument slope on Saturday evening. This is all in September. This isn't today in May.
Well, you know, it's really something to look forward to. Everything that happens in downtown Plattsburgh now is just adds to the charm of this entire area. The transformation of this waterfront,
isn't it wonderful?
It's spectacular.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And we haven't even begun yet. There's so much more in the planning stage.
I think the governor said that this is one of the top places that he's seen. Well, and so is Mike said the same thing.
Mike Shea, whom we hope to interview at some length before we finish our program today. It is great over here.
Oh, it's wonderful.
The government kidded him about finally seeing the light and coming over here to the New York side instead of Vermont side of Lake Champlain. It's a valuable asset.
Well, they've got
to
a
both areas.
first-class docking facility here now, so it should be good. It should take off.
It's really great. So keep that uniform of yours handy. How many times have you worn that garb? Quite a few.
Yeah, this will be the 5th year. Each year I add something to it, though.
You know, every year during that celebration, I see more and more townspeople dressing up.
Isn't that wonderful?
And that's great. And that'll bring more and more tourists here, won't it?
It will. We've got huge groups of people. I mean, groups of 50 or 100 coming for the band, for instance. They've got band followers that go with them, so that they've already reserved 50 rooms in one of the motels.
Oh, isn't that great?
The USS Henley. Now, this is a destroyer, one of 3 ships named the USS Henley over history. Henley was the commander of our boat, the Eagle, in the Battle of Plattsburgh. That crew is going to come here and be formally adopted by the city of Plattsburgh.
I love it.
Just as they did with the USS Lake Champlain a year ago. We're going to do the same thing with the USS Henley. And that will take place on Saturday after the parade in front of City Hall. That's going to be kind of an interesting ceremony, I think. Those guys are going to be marching in the parade. A lot of them are my age or older. Some of them said they needed to ride. But we're going to have them in the parade. And as I say, we've invited the National Guard, our New York State National Guard, to be here as well. And flyovers above us as the parade goes on from either Vermont or New York State or both.
And the Spirit of Plattsburgh is going to be part of it all. Chris, thanks so much for your undying energy giving back to this community, something that they've given to you over the years for you and your family. It's great to be a friend of yours for all these years and to see you still working at it.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Night.
Well, we eventually worked our way to the top. Michael Shea, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine.
I love it when dreams come true, and this is kind of coming true.
It's very much come true today. It's exciting to see the governor here and the state and local legislatures, the mayor, the city officials, all the citizens are out here enjoying the new Spirit of Plattsburgh.
You know, doesn't seem like very long ago when we were with you on this craft on the other side of the lake, and you were bringing up a funny-looking boat up through the locks.
We sure were, and the aircraft carrier, the flat top as people have come to call it, is now all put back together, and we're operating in Burlington now as the Spirit of Ethan Allen III and as the Spirit of Plattsburgh.
What's the name of your organization?
Lake Champlain Shoreline Cruises.
Who would ever guess that this guy who worked for Brockway Airlines at the Clinton County Airport all those years ago would end up being a mogul? Do you feel like a mogul, Michael?
No, I don't feel like a mogul. I feel like a hard-working guy. He just gets up every day, goes to work, and tries to put together something that everybody can enjoy.
Well, you know, as I said before, it is a dream come true. And things like this just don't happen all by themselves. It takes a lot of hard work. And you've been working on this idea for how long now?
Well, quite a few years. We've been looking at Plattsburgh and seeing that Plattsburgh was trying to really do something special over here. And sure enough, when we got together with the mayor and the local leadership over here, right down to the people working with inside the government, they indeed were looking to put together something special. So it's been a lot of fun working with them to help them realize their goals and dreams of building a new waterfront.
You know, and boy, is it a beautiful new waterfront, and it's really only just begun.
It is just begun. The Naked Turtle has begun a few years ago, and they've done a nice upgrade and facelift this year. They're just about ready to be finished with that. and with what the governor has been able to help out the city with for funding here, City of Plattsburgh has now got itself a nice tour boat facility, and it's nice to see all kinds of people coming down here to enjoy the waterfront, not just people coming down to enjoy us.
Hats off to Matt Spiegel. We interviewed him earlier today, and he could hardly keep it all in. You don't think he's glad to see you move in down here?
Oh, sure he is. And Matt and his dad and Jimmy Carter have been a real good neighbor, and we're proud to have them as neighbors, and I hope they're proud to have us as neighbors. We think that it's mutually beneficial to the waterfront to have a good cooperative spirit between our two companies.
It's got to be gratifying for you, after all of that hard work, to see this kind of enthusiasm today.
It is. I got to be honest. When the governor was speaking, and the governor clearly understood waterfront development from a local town level. And I did not realize he had been the mayor before.
Peekskill, sure.
Peekskill, New York, and my God, I'd hire him to market our company. So
you couldn't afford him, and you know it.
I probably couldn't afford him, but he understands the connection between a vibrant waterfront and an active community, and how it all fits together. I was very impressed with his understanding of that and how the two equate. So I'm very happy to be here. Matter of fact, I got a little misty-eyed when I was listening to the governor, because it made me feel proud, and I looked around at the citizens of this community all standing there enjoying spending some time with the governor, but I was watching their eyes drifting around a little bit, looking at the waterfront, with the building, looking at the boat and the mountains. And so it has been beneficial to.
We've had a lot of support on a lot of levels to make this dream come true today. It's going to require a lot of hard work. It took you a while to assemble a staff, didn't it?
Yes, it has. We've got about 25 people working here now, and they're great, really great. I'm very impressed with the people. There's an enthusiasm here that I'm really excited about.
You know, people may not be aware of all the things you have planned for this boat this summer. I had the good fortune of being on this boat when it was on the other side of Lake Champlain to one of the theater cruises on one night. My wife and I were blown away, never dreaming in our lifetimes that we'd be getting on the same boat on this side of the lake. People who are used to cruising the lake on smaller craft just don't know, but you have so many exciting things coming up for us.
Yes, we do. We'll be having our very popular murder mystery this year, and it's the name of that is Who Wants to Murder a Millionaire? Takeoff of the game show that's been on television. We've got our lobster dinner cruises, our luau dinner cruises, and our Captain's Buffet dinner cruises that will all be starting about Father's Day, running through Labor Day.
Have you been able to advertise outside this area so that people from out west, for example, who are going to come here for their vacations might know that the Spirit of Plattsburgh exists?
Oh yes, we've put a lot of money. We're a sales and marketing focused and driven company, and we're right now, we've already placed ads in many publications to the west, Adirondack, Lake Placid area, on up into Canada, and down to the south, going almost down to Albany, so that we can attract people who are coming to the region, drive them to Plattsburgh to ride the boat. So we're trying to capture people who are nearby and bring them over here. And of course, we're doing some cross promotion with Vermont. As people cross from Vermont, cross on the ferries of Lake Champlain here, they'll come over to Plattsburgh and hopefully ride the Spirit of Plattsburgh.
And I know that once you get them on the boat, you'll make the experience so unforgettable that they'll come back and they'll tell their friends. That's the whole idea.
That's part of the idea, is that we can make people feel good about it and they'll tell other people.
Do you plan to get involved in any way in the history of Lake Champlain on any of your cruises?
On our daily narrated scenic cruise, we will. And it's finding a balance. Everybody's not historians. We want to point the highlights out to people, somebody that may have read about the Battle of Plattsburgh, and we're always wonder, well, where is it? We can show them the Cumberland Bay here where the battle took place, and maybe they can paint their own picture. Talk about some of the highlights of the South here, the Clinton County College, get down into Valcour Island, explain some of that, and maybe just touch on somebody's early childhood history that they might have read on years and years ago.
You know, you and I are so connected with this lake, having lived and worked around here for so many years, but people who visit here from other states are not nearly as familiar with Lake Champlain as they should be. In recent years, we've called it a great lake, and we've called it a lot of wonderful things here today, but I think it's part of our mission, yours and mine, to let people outside this area know that this is a really incredible place to live and to vacation.
It really is. I can't say enough. I mean, as we're talking, I'm just looking out over the lake and the mountains and the sunshine, and it is special. And there's not very many people that I've ever met that have not enjoyed a trip or to either to the shores of Lake Champlain or getting out on the Lake Champlain. It offers something very special.
Mike talked about naming this boat the Spirit of Plattsburgh, and I think we've seen a lot of the spirit of Plattsburgh today, Michael, haven't we?
We sure have, and that's what it was named after, what this city was trying to achieve, that there's a new spirit in Plattsburgh, and for the citizens of this community, I decided that would be the appropriate name.
And I know it'll stick. Good luck in everything you do. I know you're a hard-working guy, and you won't let this operation fail. I expect to come back here many times before we're through this year and many years to come.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay.
We thought it only appropriate to wrap up our program today in front of the Naked Turtle Holding Company, because it's all part of the lakefront here. We've got the marina down here. We had the Naked Turtle, which opened several years ago with the help of Matt and his dad, Art. Now we've got the Spirit of Plattsburgh with Mike Shea and company. It's been quite an interesting day today. We weren't quite sure how it would turn out. Believe me, it's at least 10 to 15 degrees warmer than it was when we first gathered here at 9:30 this morning. Temperatures in the high 40s, low 50s, bright sunshine and tremendous winds gusting at maybe 15 to 20 miles an hour off Lake Champlain. We hope it's the start of something big. We have a feeling, based on all the enthusiasm generated by this event and the people working up to it, that it will be. I think the Spirit of Plattsburgh will add a great deal to the waterfront attractiveness here in the city of Plattsburgh, and that's the name of the game, to get dollars flowing in and people enjoying their vacations here and coming back year after year. I would, on behalf of Calvin Castine and myself, Hometown Cable, and all our viewers in the North Country, I would like to thank all the individuals, groups, government agencies, from the lowliest persons who volunteered their time right up to the governor of the great state of New York and the Empire State, for contributing toward the success of this day, and we hope the ultimate success of the Spirit of Plattsburgh. And I want to thank all the little people who watch this program on a regular basis, because guess what? You're part of the Spirit of Plattsburgh, Clinton County, and the North Country as well. Our friends in Vermont, our friends in Canada, and our friends all over this great tri-county region. It is a wonderful place to live and to work. It's great to have you with us. It's great to be here. It's wonderful to look out on Lake Champlain for me personally, and remember all the good times that we've had here down through the past. Art, get over here and say hello.
All this beautiful lake, you stand in front of an old beat-up pickup truck.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. You're talking to an old beat-up pickup truck. Art, how are you?
I've been there, done that. Doing fine. How are you?
Isn't this a great day? Isn't it fun?
Fabulous. The governor was impressed. He saw what it's like to live in the North Country today.
Well, you know, you've invested a lot of time and energy into this North Country, giving back, as we've said so many times today, for an area that's been pretty good to you down through the years.
It's been great. I mean, we've had family here for generations, really. My father, my grandfather had businesses here on both my mother's side, my father's side. And of course, we had the businesses on the border and started getting into the marinas and the restaurants. I had a lot of fun. This has been great.
This is certainly fun here every year. People walk up to me, Gordy, have you heard when the Naked Turtle's going to open? I mean,
well, it's like Michigan's. You know, you can't wait for them to get going in the spring, and you can't wait to quit eating them in the fall.
Oh,
you know?
Well, you know, I'm so glad you came over to help us wrap up this portion of our program today, because it's a big kick for Calvin and I to attend occasions like this, especially when we know that this is part of the future of this area.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, the history right here where we're standing, this is the old Dock and Coal. I'm sure you went through that whole routine. I mean, I wasn't here earlier when you were talking, but the history right here is just unbelievable. And, you know, we came in about 5 or 6 years ago, I guess 7 now. I was with, Jimmy Carter, who, you know, is a great builder of marinas, and he and I are partners on this thing. And just had this dream, and it's worked. I mean, it's just turned out very, very nicely for us, and I think that we've cleaned it up well. I can remember with the year we were trying to get going, the big joke was we had bulldozers back up into bulldozers because we were trying so frantically to get things going all at once. And it's together. It's there. Yeah.
Well, when you started 7 years ago, you had no idea that was going to happen over there either, did you?
No, but we always hoped it would.
Yeah, I know.
Certainly, you'd never know the future, but you can see a vision, and that was part of it.
And now to hear the mayor of the city of Plattsburgh tell the governor, and the governor reinforce it, that this whole lakefront is going to be developed from here all the way up through the beach. Yeah. We have a pretty spectacular freshwater beach along Lake Champlain, one of the finest of its kind in the United States, if not the world. We have a classic lake right out here. Let's take advantage of it.
Well, there's no question. And I mean, you got a mayor that is so proactive.
Oh, my.
I mean, he's got the vision, and he's, going for what counts. He's done a heck of a job. He's made a good contact with the governor, of course, and the governor has spent a lot of time and effort in the North Country, not just on this project, but a whole lot of others. And, when he stands out on that point today and sees what's going on around him, and the next time the phone call comes from this area and said, we'd like to try to redo this or redo that, he's going to be there. He's been here, he's touched it, he's felt it, he's seen it, and it's going to be something.
We didn't get a chance to interview Ron Stafford before he left, but I wonder if his hat's going to fit after the governor said he was the most powerful senator in the United
nation.
States.
There you go. And he probably is. That's no
stop
kidding.
to think about it. He's been doing it for a long time, and regardless, we try to be mostly apolitical on this program, but it just happens that these were the movers and shakers here today.
Well, no question.
And the fact that Senator Stafford has been doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Well,
in front of the public and behind the scenes for all those years, he has brought so much money into this area.
People see it and see it and see it, what he has done for the North Country, but what they don't see, he's done twice as much as you really see. And also an unsung hero, Chris is working, banging his head in a minority in the assembly, and he just does a great job doing what he's doing too. And they complement each other. And as a team, I tell you what, they brought a lot to the North Country. And I have, obviously friends from all over the place that come here, and they climb the mountains in Lake Placid, and they come down here on the lake, and they see what's going on, and they know why we like the North Country.
I have a feeling that very shortly now, Lake Champlain, Clinton County, and those high peaks that you talked about are no longer going to be a well-kept secret. I think we're letting the cat out of the bag.
No, I think that's certainly evidenced by what's happening with real estate in Lake Placid area right now. And that's going to flow over this way. I mean, look at this lake. And
it's an hour away.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. With the base developing as it is, and if if the Canadian dollar was a little different, it would help too. But I don't see the Canadian dollar changing really, and even into the distant future. We're going to live with what we have, and they've grown in Canada. The economy has grown to the point where the dollar doesn't need to change. So as a result, we've got to adapt ourselves to bring in the Canadian trade and try to make it attractive to them without the exchange rate changing, because that's going to stay about the same.
We have a very healthy and hardworking North Country Chamber of Commerce who's promoting changes at that border. Gary Douglas takes his little soapbox and screams and hollers on top of that at the border. Anybody else who listen, but that's what it takes.
Absolutely. Of course, Gary Douglas has been doing this for years, both in the capacity as chamber, and years ago he worked for Congressman Solomon, and he knows how to get it done, and he's doing a job. Yeah.
You've got to understand the political climate in the place you live in. You've mentioned a lot of people who've worked very hard in government here, not only in the state of New York, but here in Clinton County and the city. And you saw those people gathered here today. And
absolutely.
I like what I saw, and I know you do too.
Well, I do. And being a politician is not an easy job. I mean, thank God I'm not one. But
Me too.
I think that a lot of times you get criticized for things that you shouldn't get criticized. You can't please everybody all of the time, but you've got to look and see what they have accomplished and work from there, not to see what they haven't accomplished. Be positive.
I like, as I said to Mike Shea a few minutes ago, this is a dream come true for him. From a Brockway employee to the owner of a fleet now in the city of Plattsburgh, and sailing out of Lake Champlain, hiring local people to work on his boat. it's good to see that kind of a plan.
Well, I'm sure that Mike told you about how receptive Plattsburgh was to him, and the doors just opened wide. Plattsburgh saw an opportunity, Dan Stewart saw an opportunity, I should say, and took advantage of it, and it's worked for the city, yeah. I mean, it was like Matt doing a restaurant here. You know, you kind of say, well, will it or won't it? Well, it has, and even
it has and it will for a long
Yeah.
time to come.
Yeah.
And now that you're the patriarch of this wonderful Spiegel family, you gotta look down and say, yeah, that's a pretty good kid I got there.
Oh, well, I have 3 good boys. I'm really happy, and of course a lot of people from up in our area, the kids all played hockey with, and they went to school with, and we stopped the Anchorage the other night, met a group that we used to be in the hockey team
Did
with,
you
and
really?
oh my God, it was great to see everybody, and you know, that's the North Country. That's what it's about.
Isn't that great to be able to create success in your own hometown and feel comfortable every time you get up in the morning and say, these are my friends, these are my families?
Absolutely. The one thing I do, you know, we live in Rouse's Point. I get up every morning, 5 o'clock, sometimes 5:15, whatever. I go out and I look out the window. And I just thank the good Lord. A, we're here. B, we're still breathing. And let's go fight for another day.
Isn't that amazing? Does that sound like a familiar line? Because that's the way I start. We start our days that same way, too. Art Spiegel, thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for giving back to this North Country everything you do every day.
Well, thank you. It's nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Take care, Mr. Calvin.
This has been a tremendous kick for Calvin and myself, and for everybody here. I didn't hear a negative note anywhere, even from the seagulls that flew overhead and the fish that swim in the sea. It's been a good day for the North Country, and I hope that we're just beginning to write another chapter of wonderful North Country history. And who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.